Hi, this is a video about PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. These are drugs that are also called antiacids. That's what your doctor will give you if you have stomach issues. So I made other videos about stomach issues. I will put the links up there on the top right corner of this screen. So go watch these videos for more details. I have a detailed video about gastritis and how to heal naturally from gastritis. I also have a video about hypochlorhydria. So please go watch these videos for solutions if you have issues, stomach issues. So here is a list of studies that I used to make this video. I will put these studies in the description box under this video. So as I said, PPIs are drugs. It's proton pump inhibitors, that's what it means, and it's acid reducers. So if you have stomach issues like GERD, like acid reflux, or gastritis, or ulcers in your stomach, and if you go to your doctor, or if you have H. pylori infection, then your doctor will certainly give you PPIs, okay? Because in the mind of your doctor, you have these issues because your stomach is too acidic. So he will give you something to stop the acidity in your stomach. Okay, so the most common drug is called omeprazole, but here you have the other drugs that you can find. They all end in azole, omeprazole, lansoprazole, etc., etc. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. So how does it work? So PPIs, as I said, it means proton pump inhibitor. Okay, so it blocks the activity of proton pumps. What are proton pumps? Proton pumps are in your stomach. So this is a picture of your stomach mucosa. Here you can see the gastric glands, and amongst these gastric glands you have the parietal cells. In these parietal cells you have the proton pump. The proton pumps make acid. They produce acid in your stomach. So the proton pump inhibitors stop the activation of these proton pumps that make acid, and therefore your stomach will stop making acid. Okay, so basically that's what it is. Also, as I said, your doctor might give you PPIs if he sees that you have an infection with H. pylori. Because so in H. pylori eradication, PPIs help by increasing the stomach pH, so making it more alkaline, causing the bacterium to shift out of its coccoid form, which is resistant to both acids and antibiotics. So if you have H. pylori infection, your doctor will give you PPIs and antibiotics together because this bacteria is more sensitive to antibiotics when the pH is more alkaline. Okay, that's what happens. Here is an extract of one of the studies that says the current use of PPIs focuses primarily on symptom management rather than addressing treatable factors that have contributed to the gastroesophageal reflux, gastritis, and peptic ulcers. Okay, basically what it says it doesn't address the root cause, it only stops the symptoms. That's what it does. Before we continue, here I will explain what is the pH, because as I said, the proton pump inhibitors, they stop your stomach from making acidity. So your stomach is supposed to be very acidic. It's supposed to have a pH between 1 and 3 to function normally, to function properly. Okay, so the pH is a scale that measures the acidity and the alkalinity of something. Okay, so the scale goes from 0 to 14th. The more you go towards 0, the more acidic it is. The more you go towards 14th, the more alkaline it is. 7 in the middle is neutral. It's not acidic, it's not alkaline. So again, your stomach is supposed to be very acidic. That's how you digest your food. That's when your stomach is very acidic. Okay, you will have issues if your stomach is not acidic enough. There are conditions that are called hypochlorhydria and achlorhydria. I made a video recently about these two conditions, so go watch this video if you're interested. So hypochlorhydria is when there's not enough acid in your stomach. The pH is above 3. So between instead of being between 1 and 3, it's above 3. And achlorhydria, it's when there's no acidity in your stomach. It's 7 and above 7. Okay. So you will have lots of issues if you have hypochlorhydria and achlorhydria. Hypochlorhydria and achlorhydria will be caused by PPIs. Okay, we will talk about that. So what are the side effects of PPIs? As I said, PPIs stop the production of acid in your stomach. Therefore, you will have hypochlorhydria or achlorhydria. If your stomach is not acidic enough, you won't digest your food. You won't digest your food correctly because that's how your stomach is supposed to be. It's supposed to be acidic, okay? So if your stomach is not acidic enough because you take PPIs, you will have slow gastric emptying. Why? It's because, again, your stomach is not acidic enough, so it can't digest quickly the food that gets in there. And therefore, the food will stay much, much longer in your stomach. And that's why when you have hypochlorhydria, you have this sensation of that when you have a meal, it stays in your stomach forever. It's like it doesn't digest. And it's actually what's happening. So you have protein malabsorption. And that's another side effect of hypochlorhydria caused by PPIs. Protein malabsorption. Because to digest proteins, you need acidity. Okay. If you can't absorb protein properly, you will have muscle loss, you will have bad skin and joints, slow wound healing because of collagen deficiency. If your stomach is not acidic enough, you won't digest proteins and many other things. If you don't digest proteins and many other things, you won't digest vitamins, many vitamins and minerals, and especially B12, vitamin B12, magnesium, iron, and calcium. If you cannot absorb enough B12, you will have symptoms of B12 deficiencies that are fatigue, anemia, depression, anxiety, mood swings, and even dementia. If you cannot absorb calcium, you will have calcium deficiency symptoms. Bone loss, fractures, osteoporosis, cramps, muscle issues. You will also have GERD, burping, rebound stomach, acid hypersecretion. So why will you have GERD and burping if you take PPIs? Because PPIs aggravate GERD in the long run. So again, if you have GERD, you will go to your doctor. Your doctor will give you antiacids and PPIs. Why? It's because when you have GERD, basically what happens is that you have reflux. So it's food from your stomach that come back up in your esophagus. And that will cause a burning sensation in your esophagus and even in your throat. Okay, so that's what is GERD. So if you take PPIs as your doctor tells you, what will happen is that you will still have the reflux, but it won't be acidic anymore, so it won't burn. So you will still have the reflux, but it won't burn anymore. So you will find some relief from taking PPIs. But on the long run, it's really not the solution, because why do you have reflux? Here on this picture, you can see why. It's because you will have reflux when the sphincter doesn't close properly. It stays open. So why does it stay open? It stays open because the pH of your stomach was not correct. When you don't have a correct pH, the signal doesn't come to your sphincter to tell it to close. Okay? So, and that's when the pH is not acidic enough. The pH is not acidic enough, so the sphincter doesn't close. So when you will take PPIs, it will make it actually worse, because it will make your stomach really alkaline. Therefore, the sphincter won't close. It will be even worse than when you started. And also, when the pH is not acidic enough, the food here, instead of getting digested fast and your stomach emptying fast, the food will stay here forever. It will start fermenting. There will be gases forming. And because you have this fermentation in your stomach, the gases and droplets will come back up, okay, in your esophagus. So the solution is not to stop your stomach producing acidity, it's the opposite. So yeah, side effects of PPIs: GERD, burping, rebound stomach acid hypersecretion. Why? It's because when you take PPIs, in a moment, like a few minutes later, the stomach acidity will stop. Okay, but then when your stomach can make acidity again, a few hours after you took your drug, your medication, your stomach will make even more acidity to compensate with the acidity it couldn't make before. So it will actually worsen the issue. You can have hypergastrinemia if you take PPIs. Why? It's because gastrin is a gland, a hormone made in your stomach, and gastrin sends the message to your other glands to make acidity in the stomach. And because you take PPIs, so the acidity doesn't happen, so the gastrin keep coming, keep sending the message, produce more acid, produce more acid, produce more acid. But because there's not any acid coming, it keeps sending the signal of producing more acid. And therefore, it will stress your stomach, your gastric glands, and your stomach mucosa very, very much. And in the end, you can end up having a stomach cancer. You can also have esophageal adenocarcinoma, cancer, okay, in your esophagus. You certainly will have dysbiosis if you take PPIs. Dysbiosis everywhere in your digestive system, in your mouth, in your stomach, and in your intestines. And especially, you will develop H. pylori in your stomach. And that's quite ironic because your doctor gives you PPIs to get rid of H. pylori, but it's not the solution, because as you see, you can have H. pylori from taking PPIs. You can have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth in your small intestine when you take PPIs. You can have infection with C. diff, E. coli, and more. Okay. Therefore, because you will have all these issues, it can cause IBDs, IBS, lots of gut issues. Therefore, you will have diarrhea, but you can also have constipation. You will have bloating and gas. You will develop food allergies or food intolerances. Why? It's because if you eat food, the food doesn't get digested properly in your stomach, then the undigested food particles continue down your digestive system, and on their way they will irritate your gut. And if your gut was already fragile, if it was already weak, then it will cause leaky gut. Or if you already have leaky gut, these food particles will cross the gut lining. It will get into your bloodstream, and therefore you will develop these allergies and intolerances. You can develop interstitial nephritis. That is an inflammation of your kidneys. That's quite a common side effect of PPIs. You can also develop lupus, pneumonia, dementia. Dementia not only because you become deficient in B12, as we said before, but also because PPIs, in PPI drugs, you have aluminum. And we know now that aluminum causes brain issues and cause dementia, like Alzheimer, for example. PPIs can cause cardiovascular diseases and also liver diseases. Okay, so here I've put different extracts of here and here in these two slides, extracts of the different studies that I have put in the beginning of this video. So please read these extracts if you want to know more about PPIs, about the dangers of PPIs. I won't read everything, but so here, for example, subjects taking proton pump inhibitors will generally have a fasting gastric pH between 5 and 7. We said before that the normal pH is between 1 and 3. Now you will have a pH between 5 and 7. That's really bad. How can you digest anything with such a pH? Okay, PPI drugs may promote H. pylori overgrowth. Okay, it will cause resulting in hypergastrinemia, as I said, and therefore can cause cancer. Okay, esophageal adenocarcinoma. So that's what I said before, but it's just here to show you that I don't make up what I tell you. It is in these studies. And if you go to your doctor because you have stomach issues and your doctor gives you PPIs, At least now you can talk to your doctor about that. You can ask him why he thinks that PPIs would be good for you. And now that you've watched this video, you know the side effects. So you can discuss that with your doctor. And also, your doctor, chances are that he doesn't even know everything I say in this video, because most doctors, they go to medical school, and it was like 30 years ago, and they don't keep up with new studies, and they learned something 30 years ago, and they just keep doing that thing. But since then, many studies, many things came out showing that what these doctors learned 30 years ago are not valid anymore. They are not good anymore. So this is the main problem with doctors, is that they don't keep up with the science. So if your doctor gives you PPIs, send him this video or send him the different studies that I've put in the description box under this video, okay? Because doctors need to stop poisoning people with PPIs. And I'm really serious here because it really causes tons and tons of issues. So PPIs have also been reported to exacerbate the mucosal damage caused by non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in the distal portion of the small bowel. Basically, here it says that if you take PPIs and if you take anti-inflammatory drugs, it's the perfect combination to destroy your stomach and your small intestine. Okay. PPIs cause dysbiosis. Here you have tons of extracts of these studies showing that it causes dysbiosis, very bad dysbiosis everywhere in your digestive system. Here, this is a picture I took from one of these studies, and I like this picture because it's really obvious that yes, we have a microbiome everywhere in our digestive system. Usually, people know that we have a microbiome in our gut, but they barely know we have one in our mouth. But most people actually think there's nothing in the stomach. There's no microbiome in the stomach. Yes, there is. Look at this. This here on the left side of this picture is the list of all the bacteria you're supposed to have in each part of your digestive system. Look, in your stomach, you're supposed to have these ones, okay? So this is a normal microbiota. On the right side is the microbiota after PPI treatment. It destroys your microbiome everywhere, okay? The gastric microbiota, so in the stomach, is composed mainly of firmicutes, bacteroidetes, proteobacteria, and actinobacteria, blah, blah, blah. It is important to keep in mind that hypochlorhydria, so when you don't have enough acid in your stomach, caused by PPIs, promotes a reduction in microbial diversity and the growth of microbes that have genotoxic potential, with an increase in the nitrite, reductase bacterial functions involved in cancer development. Okay, so that's all for today. If you are thinking about taking PPIs, well, I hope you are not anymore after watching this video. Taking PPIs is really, really bad for your digestive system, but for your body entirely. And so in this video, I don't talk about solutions. For solutions, so again, if you take PPIs, it's because you have issues, as we said in the beginning, acid reflux, you have gastritis, you have gastric ulcers. There are natural solutions for these things. Not only PPIs. And as we said, PPIs cause more issues. So for solutions for these issues, please go watch my videos, my gastritis video and my hypochlorhydria video. I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.